Eric, near the end of the sermon today, we're going to do a little prayer over the blankets. Can you play while we're doing that? Okay, so think about something that you might play. Okay, cool. Last time we did this, it worked pretty well, so I'm going to try it again. We'll read together Psalm 99, so let's have it go.
The Lord is King, let the peoples tremble. He sits enthroned upon the cherubim, let the earth quake. The Lord is great in Zion, He is exalted over all the peoples. Let them praise your great and awesome name. Holy is He, mighty King, lover of justice. You have established equity. You have executed justice and righteousness in Jacob. Extol the Lord our God. Worship at His footstool. Holy is He. Moses and Aaron were among His priests. Samuel also was among those who called on His name. They cried to the Lord, and He answered them. He spoke to them in the pillar of cloud. They kept His decrees and the statutes that He gave them. O Lord our God, You answered them. You were forgiving now to them by the measure of their wrongdoings. Extol the Lord our God and worship at His holy mountain. For the Lord our God is holy.
Stephanie, can you lead with the video? Changing it up on that. Payback. Scrub style.
Okay, I'm here. What's the emergency, Keith?
Well, do you want Mr. Fleming on unfractionated or low molecular weight heparin?
They're the exact same thing. Every doctor here knows that. Why would you page me?
Because I told him to. And I know what you're thinking, Dorothy. Why would I have your intern call you in on one of your very precious days off for something so gosh darn trivial? But the real question ought to be, why, when you were an intern, did you call me in time after time? So now, to commemorate the first of many unnecessary disruptions of your life, I've invited Laverne's church choir here to summarize my feelings in exuberant song.
Oh man, I love that. Payback is a bitch. We are going through some scriptures that are kind of hard for us to get our heads around. They are sometimes difficult to preach on, of course. They are sometimes hard to find good news in. And this is one of those scriptures, I think. Sure, it's easy to encounter the scriptures, this song that we encounter that says, yes, God is going to make things right. God is a just God. That's okay, right? And it's maybe even good to hear that God is a forgiving God. That's okay to hear. But then sometimes it's hard for us to leave space for God to be the God that brings the payback, especially when we've been wrong. It's not so easy to hear that. I remember when I was in my third and final year of seminary, Julie was just coming on, and she was starting up at the seminary too. So my third year was Julie's first year in seminary. My final year was Julie's first year in seminary. And so we'd been married for going on 3 years, and we were finally going to be able to live in the same apartment together. And so we're really excited about that. And so fall came along, and we were moving into seminary housing. And it was Labor Day weekend, right? That's the one that's that big. holiday that's in September. And over Labor Day weekend, right going into Labor Day, we moved all our stuff into Chicago, this house, this apartment in Chicago. It was owned by the seminary. And we got all of our stuff in there, including her laptop that had, her final bit of dissertation work that she was still working on as she was going off to seminary, and all our data. And we got all of our clothes packed away, all of our furniture. And it's Labor Day weekend, so we got it all moved in okay on Friday, and we thought, what the heck, we may as well go back home to Bay City, Saginaw to visit with our family. So we left the place, we locked it up, left it, went home. Sunday night comes and we're headed back, or it was actually Monday night that we were coming back. And we arrived and we parked the car and walked up the back steps, and I noticed the door was ajar. And then I looked closely and I saw that the window and the screen had been cut away, and the window was wide open. It was broken, and somebody had opened the door. And I thought, oh, don't go in, I'll go in, I'm stupid, right? I'll take care of it, right? So, I go in and the place is just trashed. All of our stuff was just thrown all over. We had, a firebox with all of our important documents, like our marriage certificate, birth certificates, and passports, and I couldn't find that anywhere. And all of Julie's unmentionables were dumped all over the bed. The bed was tossed. It was just a total violation. Julie's laptop was gone. The zip drive, thankfully, it was like a merciful thief, I guess, a burglar. He had left do you guys even know what zip drives are? They probably don't use those much anymore. But all of the data that she had for her dissertation, they left that, okay? And they left a zip disk, a stack of zip disks, and a zip drive. They took the computer. Jeez. So, just completely violated. And immediately, I went next door to notify our neighbors, and Paul and Brenda Lynn were there. And Paul came over, and he's looking around. He's like, "You should not have gone in there by yourself. Let's have a look and make sure everything's okay." And he's looking about. And I remember, Julie went in to be with Brenda in their apartment, and Paul and I were visiting. And I was so upset. I just was. My first feeling was, we've just been violated. I didn't know what to do with my feelings. Just really nervous about that we weren't going to be safe in this place at all. And then my next feeling was, I just want to kill this guy who did this. I just want vengeance. And I'm forever grateful for Paul, because he let me, say all the swear words that I could get out at that time, and just didn't even try to, reframe it in terms of, the theological position here. He just let me, vent. And we took as much time as possible. It took us a long time for the cops to show up, and then they dust the place off. And but as I'm venting, he just let me have that space, and I got it out, and I realized that, who knows? Who knows who broke in, and maybe they needed, how desperate were they? Maybe they needed these things more than we needed these things. And we were insured, we'd be able to rebuild all the stuff. And Julie's data wasn't really lost. Nobody was really hurt. And who knows what the situation was? In my heart, I felt start to soften a little bit, but I'm still very angry. And then I can remember Paul just continued to be there. He didn't, again, he didn't try to harp on, well, maybe that thief was in bad shape or anything like that. He just continued to listen to me. In fact, he went even further than that, and he prepared us a meal. And then he went even further than that, and he blew up the air mattress. And then he went even further than that, and he put Brenda and himself on the air mattress, and he gave us their bed. And then he went even further than that, and he came in and made sure that we were comfortable with his favorite blanket. He wrapped us up in his favorite blanket. And then he went even further than that, and he said, I'll sit here with you as long as you need, until you start to feel safe. And it was in that moment that he just was there. I began to feel God's justice. I began to feel God's forgiveness. And I began to let go of this hate and anger that I had in my heart for whoever had violated us this way. And then in that space that was created in that letting go of the vengeance that I had in my heart, the love of God rushed in. Through that gesture of him taking that blanket and wrapping it around us, I felt God's love in a powerful way. I felt free from that cold vengeance in my heart. Let's have that first fill in the blank. God is a lover of justice. God is a lover of justice. It's not that God doesn't like it when wrong things happen. God loves it when the rules are followed and people play by the rules. And God loves it when we're able to work together and be in community together. And God loves it when soccer games happen and fouls aren't committed. Or even when they are, the penalty kicks happen in appropriate ways and the kids got lifted back and played back in the game what the game was intended. God likes it for the rules to be followed and not be broken. Because God likes a good game. And in the game of life, God sort of laid out many rules, and oftentimes we try to supersede those rules, and God doesn't want us to cheat. God wants us to be engaged in the game of life and to follow the rules. And so God is a lover of justice. And, when things happen that are unjust to us, or when injustice happens to us, we can take comfort in this fact. And that's what the psalmist sings, and that might be easier for us to embrace. Let's have the next one. A good friend of mine, Jonathan Keaton, Bishop Keaton, we all call him, he says to me one day at a baseball game, he says, "Bill, we owe God. We all of us owe God. Because all of us have been on the wrong side of this justice issue. All of us have taken shortcuts. All of us have fallen short. And yes, God is a lover of justice, but God gives us a break. And God pays the price of the injustices that we commit, and God forgives. So God is forgiving. And this psalm indicates that God is a forgiving God. And that is actually good news. It's good to hear that, because so many times we've fallen short. So many times we've just gotten it wrong. So many times we didn't even know what the right way was, and we just chose one way, and it was the wrong way. God is a forgiving God, and God loves us so much that trying to bring us into the fold. Hey, pay no attention to man. So God is a forgiving God, and that's easy for us. But when it comes to it, sometimes we just get overwhelmed by the demon of revenge. It comes down to it. Sometimes when injustices happen to us, we want to seek our payback. We want to do that dance. It's hard for us to let go and let God in those situations. We want to take over. But when I have been engaged in the work of vengeance, the saying that your mom always tells you, how does that go? About wrongs. 2 wrongs. Don't make it right. 3 rights make a left. I mean, in those situations where I try to get my vengeance or try to seek out revenge, I have noticed that is absolutely true. You come back and you do the payback, and sometimes your whole life gets obsessed with seeking out this revenge. And then, you know, when you know like how that is, you try to fill your life. It's like we talked about, you know, that fellow called Augustine. It says, you know, there's this sort of God-shaped hole in our souls, and we try to fill it up with all sorts of other things. And we were talking about how maybe that those other things might be material things like iPods or iPhones or you know, fancy cars or whatever. But sometimes those things that we try to fill up our hearts with are things like, you know, obsession about getting some payback. And just like those shiny things won't really bring us peace or joy ultimately or happiness, you know, achieving the payback doesn't do it either. Especially when we're trying to fill up that God-shaped hole with something else, with revenge. Have you ever seen Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan?
Yeah.
Yes. And Khan had Kirk, right? Buried alive. He was set, but that somehow it just wasn't enough. Yeah, right there. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to see it. Somehow it just wasn't enough, and you know, Kirk just continued to badger him, and he figured out a way to get out, and then, you know, Khan just was ready to give everything up to seek his revenge out on Kirk, and that even so much that, you know, the fellow who was sort of Khan's son, Khan turned on him in the end. That's how we get when we get obsessed with this revenge. And when I have been involved in trying to get my sister back for something she did to me, or I have found that when I actually do, even if I come through with the best form of revenge possible, even if I'm able to achieve that joyful dance in the end, ultimately, there's still an emptiness at the end. And so, the sooner we discover that God is going to set the things right, and it's God is the one who is going to bring about the vengeance, well, the better off we are. Now, if you look up the word avenge in the dictionary, it says something like to bring about pain, or to bring about violence for a wrongdoing. But when I think about God as the one who is the avenger in our lives, I don't think about someone who is seeking to bring about pain in someone else's life or smite someone so much. I'm more New Testament than I am Old Testament, I guess. But I'm thinking about God who is setting the wrong right. And that's ultimately what let's have that next one like. God avenges the wrong. In some cases, when God is bringing about avenging or vengeance, on the wrongs that we have done, sometimes that does cause us individuals some pain. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes that does cause us some pain. But more, God is superhero, God is avenger. I think what's happening here is really God is really focusing on the demons in our life that are threatening us. The demons in our life that are encouraging us to try to get our revenge. Demons in our life that are encouraging us to go down the wrong path. The demons in our life that are just plaguing us. And when we talk about God as avenger or God as the one who is avenging the wrong, we don't have to think about necessarily God who is smiting us. Maybe what we can think about is God who is actually coming after that demon in your life and is going to squash it. I don't know what the demon is. Maybe your demons are, you just can't let something go, you can't forgive, you just want to take out your vengeance. Maybe that's your demon. Maybe your demon is you're addicted to prescription drugs and you just can't beat that habit. Maybe your addiction is, you are afraid of intimacy. You don't want to let anybody in. Whatever your demon is, whatever is challenging you to do the wrong, or encouraging you to do the wrong, God is going to set things right. God is the one who can set things right. And God is the one who can avenge that wrong in your life. Your challenges this week if you choose to accept it. Enjoy a little revenge literature. You might like to pick up The Count of Monte Cristo. Great book. How many pages is that? Have you ever read that one?
Depends on the version.
Yeah, 900. I think mine was like 1,200 pages. Big one. That's a little light reading in the semester. A little right. Yeah. But it's a great movie too, though. So that's great. And then, or you might, if you want, just rent Rathacon. It's about the same thing. And then practice a little forgiveness in your life. Somebody may have done something wrong to you. Go ahead and try and practice up a little forgiveness in your life. Do some good. Don't worry about trying to right the wrongs in your life. Don't worry about extracting your revenge. Do some good. And see how God works in your life to bring about avenging the wrongs. Now what I want you to do is we're going to take this moment. We're going to bless these blankets. These blankets that as I recall, a blanket shared with me was able to soften my heart and let me let go of vengeance in my life. And what these blankets are, these are the ugly quilts, right? This is the ugly quilt ministry that the University Church is engaged in. And they're going to take these blankets and they're going to deliver them. Once we bless them, they're going to deliver them to Open Door Ministries. And maybe, just maybe, they'll go to close someone who, or wrap around someone who has vengeance in their heart, and their hearts need to be softened up too. Or maybe, just maybe, they'll go to someone who has broken in to someone's apartment sometime and needs to feel God's love in a tangible way that overwhelms that person's guilt over what has happened. As you come forward to offer your prayer as Eric is playing for us, I invite you to bring either your prayers alone and just touch these blankets and pray over them. Or maybe you are one of those demons in your life is this vengeance and you can't let it go. If that's the case, I invite you to come forward and maybe name that thing as we pray over these blankets and say, I'm just going to let that go. I'm going to give that to God and let God take care of that and make vengeance and right that wrong. And I want you to continue your prayer over these blankets. So as the Spirit moves you, I invite you to come up and touch the blankets and offer your prayer.